Yes. So we're looking at another video from my gaming chops, and I think we have a bonus video today. So I was going to talk about this video earlier in the day while I was at work because I was watching it and I was listening to it, and I like to try and hear people out on certain things, but I don't know, man. Like the more and more I hear about the gripes for Ninja Gaiden 4, like the less credibility I think should be lended to some of these creators. You know what I mean? I've never seen such a game that's so perfectly in line with the philosophy of the series. Like just be crapped on so bad. Like not since Final Fantasy VII remake or Rebirth. Where the people were talking about, oh man, it's not the same like play style. Like no, it's not, but it's better in a way. You know what I mean? Like you get to do way more things in Final Fantasy VII remake like per second than you would in Final Fantasy VII. Or even better example, Resident Evil 2 remake. If you could believe it, Resident Evil 2 remake, one of the highest rated horror games of all time, has its share of haters that don't like the game because it doesn't have tank controls. You can't see. I mean, you can see around every corner, which honestly I think is more horrifying when you can see something coming your way. But that's just my personal opinion. A jump scare is like not as scary to me. But let's go ahead and listen to this video and see what's happening. Oh, hold on. Let me change my audio settings. That's my bad. OBS updated recently. And there we go. All right.
Wow, this is garbage.
It's about time.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
And here we go.
Another day, another thing has happened which has further divided the fan base in this civil war over Ninja Gaiden. This time it's dynamic weapon switching, a game mechanic that we learned about at least a month ago that was showcased recently and confirmed that this would be in the game. And let's just say people weren't happy. Why, you might ask? Well, let's take a look.
This is going to be like the theme the entire time. But so basically he's going to talk about like how the new protagonist Yakumo is able to switch weapons on the fly, like a normal action title. It happens in like pretty much any action game. You can switch weapons on the fly, even in Kingdom Hearts, which the entire game you're playing with keyblades. They just have different transformation skills. And I just don't see the complaint here. Like, I think that was one of the worst things about the Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3 trilogy. You could not switch weapons on the fly. As a matter of fact, in this character action game that prides itself on speed and, how quickly you could dispatch an enemy, how you can mutilate an enemy, yada, yada, yada. The fact that you could not switch your weapon in the middle of a combo, and this guy is like superhuman and super fast and everything, he's a ninja, and you could do it on games where characters are less powerful. Like if you play Rise of the Ronin, you could switch your weapons faster than you can on Ninja Gaiden, and that's shameful. But let's continue.
I keep seeing these comparisons of Ninja Gaiden 4 to Devil May Cry in regards to dynamic weapon switching. They believe that this mechanic further removes the uniqueness of Ninja Gaiden as it becomes just like another action game with modern mechanics. Something I brought up.
Okay, again, the emphasis on modern mechanics is not good to me. I wish people would stop doing that because this is a good change, because you're making something that was slow and unwieldy fast and more accessible to people, because some people might not want to play Ninja Gaiden because they might want to switch weapons on the fly because it'd be cooler. If you played Ninja Gaiden before, you would know that there's a limited amount of combos you could do, and I know Ninja Gaiden isn't the combo game. I'm doing the quotation fingers, but the main thing about Ninja Gaiden that you have to think about is the speed of the combat and like how quickly things can change and like interrupt you and yada yada yada. My least favorite thing about Ninja Gaiden is I don't feel like there's a good balance between the character and the enemies he's fighting, he or she is fighting at any point. A lot of the times they can like interrupt you and stop you from doing certain combos, and then you just have to sit there and be like, I guess I'm supposed to be the stupid one for like pressing the attack button at any moment. Because on Ninja Gaiden 1, I remember they would like counter you. Like if you attack them with like a light attack, they would like counter you if I remember correctly. And then there's Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3, which I found like to be easier, but you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Before in regards to other changes. Now, I have never played Devil May Cry before, and maybe
That's a damn shame.
But for right now, I can't comment if this claim has any validity.
So this isn't his gameplay. This is like gameplay he took from someone else. Actually, hold on a second. Let me see something. Royal Guard. That's weird. That must be a mod. That has to be a mod because you can't just do a Royal Guard like attack like that without almost being attacked.
Any validity.
Whatever.
But let's assume the dynamic weapon switching showcased is exactly the same as in Devil May Cry. For me, I don't care if games share mechanics, even if it causes controversy at times. For example, Halo 4's multiplayer took inspiration from Call of Duty, and that's putting it lightly. Or Halo Reach added armor abilities, many of which were common mechanics in other first-person shooter games. My opinions on these games weren't significantly impacted by these shared mechanics. Every game shares mechanics from other games. The question is, does it feel unique? For example, Nier Automata and Devil May Cry might both have dynamic weapon switching, but no one would ever confuse them as the same game. Ninja Gaiden 4
No, never, because
challenge of
I'm gonna take a shot at Nier real quick. They would never confuse them because Nier isn't a very style heavy game like that shit, which is something that people are gonna hate about me. I'm not the biggest Platinum Games fan. I think that they get a lot of credit for making Devil May Cry. And like ever since Bayonetta, it's Bayonetta, and now it's gonna be Nier. But I don't see Bayonetta maybe, but I don't see Nier as like that good of a game in terms of combat. Like you could switch weapons, like dude had said, but like they switch via an attack, which honestly I don't mind that. But there are too many games where like switching via an attack, it makes the attack will be very whack. One good example of this is like Neo 2 even, like, and I love Neo 2, but Neo 2, when you switch your weapons in the middle of a combo, it's like the lamest thing ever, and there's nothing good about it. Like, it doesn't have extra hit stun, it doesn't like give you more stamina back in a lot of circumstances. Like, it's just silly. But anyway, I got off on a tangent there. I just wanted to poop on Nier real quick.
Its identity while copying mechanics from other games, in this case more modern mechanics. You know where I stand on the other new mechanics. For this one, I'm going to need to play the game first to decide whether this is still Ninja Gaiden or not.
Bro, imagine saying, like, having that little game sense that you can't figure out, like, if switching a weapon on the fly makes a game more fun or not. Like, okay, then don't switch the weapon. My problem with a lot of Gaming Chops' videos so far, I say a lot, but just the two so far, is like, you know, he seems to be judging the games on like something that has nothing to do with like his preference, right? Like, okay, your preference isn't changing the difficulty, so why are you complaining about it? Don't change the difficulty. Your preference is to not change weapons. Don't change weapons unless you're standing still.
Many people argue that this mechanic feels out of place for Ninja Gaiden. Yakumo doesn't have the same weight to him as Ryu, you shouldn't remain in the air that long while pulling off a combo, and it interrupts the flow of combat.
No, you're doing a combo to one enemy, and in action games, it's very normal to want to play with an enemy or like, you know, do something really cool to an enemy while the other enemies they can't access you, they're knocked down or something along those lines. Hell, I do it in Ninja Gaiden. You know, sometimes I've seen some Ninja Gaiden videos. Like, even though it's not the style game, you can still style in that game. 1 second, got a phone call. All right, now where was I? I was talking about how Ninja Gaiden can be stylish if you want to, but it could be kind of hard to get to that point. I think that's where I was at, but you know, I'm not going to go back. I'm just going to go forward because I don't want this video to be too long.
Which was primarily designed for ground combat only. Here's the thing, these people aren't entirely wrong. The goal of Ninja Gaiden is to kill everyone as fast as possible, so throwing in a mechanic like this could interfere with that goal. That being said, the game in general moves faster than before, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Another consideration is while past games were designed primarily for ground combat, juggling enemies in midair has been a thing since the Azuno drop has been in the game. There are even weapons like the Vigorian flails, which even a noob like myself can end up flying in the air with it while attacking a group of enemies. It is possible to pull off insane crazy combos where you can juggle someone in the air for seemingly forever and then ending it with an Azuno drop. I wouldn't know any of this though, since
Seemingly forever and Ninja Gaiden.
I'm not that great at these games. So with that,
I don't understand like that part. He said he's not that great at these games, but the difficulty is like really that it's really that important to him.
in mind, I can see how adding this mechanic seems like the obvious next progression for these games. I am curious to see how it will impact ground.
You know, somebody called me out on the last video. They said that they couldn't listen to me. They couldn't take my commentary seriously because I never beat Ninja Gaiden 1. I just want to clear the air here. I rented Ninja Gaiden 1 for like a weekend when I was younger, and I didn't spend as much time on it as I wanted to. But at the end of the day, I found the gameplay with Rachel to be repulsive. I found Ryu to really not move. Like, okay, so Devil May Cry 3 is a great example, right? Because like it's one of the character action games that people look to as being the best, right? That game and Devil May Cry 3, that's the game where they started giving you movements to like really deal with anything. You know what I mean? Maybe you would say Devil May Cry 2 because the iframes on the dodge were so big or whatever. But they really started giving you movements. Like they gave you Trickster. They gave you cancels and stuff that were like available, like Air Step, yada, yada, yada. And things like that and the like. But Ninja Gaiden 1, like Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, oh my god, like you don't have a lot of great movement options, especially with these enemies. Some of them are attacking you all at once. I just played Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge recently, and the final boss is a bitch because you have to fight so many demons or whatever they were. They're like homunculi or something. I don't remember what they were, but they're attacking you all at once, and it's so hard because even though it's the easier game, like it's so hard that last boss because these minions come out of like nowhere infinitely ad nauseum until you get enough Nimpo, and you're supposed to kill them until you get the Nimpo so you can use it on the boss. And at that point, the boss fight becomes much easier, but it's so hard fighting them because there's like 4 of them at a time, right? And they're all attacking you at once, and you could dodge away from them, then they jump towards you. You know, that's a lot. It's a lot like how Ninja Gaiden 1 felt to me.
Combat as well. I have seen the argument that this mechanic feels unrealistic for a Ninja Gaiden game as it looks like Yakumo is floating in the air somehow. I'm not saying that these people are wrong, but I never cared about realism with Ninja Gaiden. Ryu's feats are so absurd, he might as well be a demigod at this point. The only time this would bother me is if the gameplay makes the characters feel less like ninjas. I'm not getting that feeling so far with what we have seen. Back to dynamic weapons.
I need to talk about ninjas real quick. Like, to me, ninja weapons are like katanas, kodachis, I would say kusarigama, shurikens, kunai, stuff like that. There's not really a lot of wiggle room for me there. Daggers, tantos, yada yada yada. Short weapons, dexterous weapons, things like that and the like. Now, ninjas are supposed to be a master of like in some fantasy, ninjas are a master of every weapon, but I think those are like the main weapons if we're talking about like a traditional Japanese ninja. That's like rooted within their culture. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, fam. Like, I think that a lot of the things that Ryu has in the entire series doesn't really relate to ninja that much, period. Like, he uses a bow staff, the lunar staff. He uses the Vigorian flails, as he mentioned earlier. Nunchucks, I guess the Vigorian flails and nunchucks, they're similar. So I kind of forgive them a little bit. But also great swords, you know what I mean? Exploding compound bow and arrow, like a hunting bow and arrow. You know, like, I don't know. There's just so many weapons that might not fit him in the entire series, but he uses them anyway.
And switching. Here's the thing. When a new game mechanic like this is added, my first question
there's the
is
staff.
How mandatory will this mechanic be? Can I play through Warrior and Mentor difficulty, or this new game's equivalent, without overly relying on it? That was my problem with Steel on Bone. I'm not angry that this mechanic was added. I'm angry that the game forces you to use it, ultimately adding restrictions on how you approach combat encounters. I prefer...
That was fair. I think that's like a fair thing to say about Steel on Bone. It kind of limited your encounters. Like, you would fish for a Steel on Bone scenario. If you don't know what that is, it's when the enemy on Ninja Gaiden 3 flashes red. You're supposed to press triangle, heavy attack, with whatever weapon you have, and it'll kill them instantly. And you can chain that to other enemies. The higher the level of the weapon, the more chain kills you get. And you also get like bonus health for, I think, every kill, right? So it's a neat idea, but you already kind of obliterate enemies. So there's that. I don't know. Like, I agree with that, but I don't see them being the same thing, the Steel on Bone and the weapon switching. It just seems like a little nuts to me to kind of make that comparison. Like, oh my goodness, like, you can switch from one weapon to another. Like, bro, this is past the PS2 era. This is very common.
Having more freedom to tackle enemies as I wish. Now, while it's true that higher difficulty settings in past games limit what you could do, those limitations still allow for more level of freedom than something like...
No, they didn't. Like, look, I can tell you right now, if you go play Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3 on the highest difficulty, there's not a lot that you could do. Like, the enemies will attack you heavy, like, relentlessly. Like, you can get certain attacks in, and then you have to dodge or jump out of the way.
What you could do, those limitations still allow for more level of freedom than something like Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. Anyways, with this mechanic, it doesn't feel out of place, at least so far. Personally, I am more concerned with the Blood Raven attacks, which give me Steel on Bone flashbacks. The IGN guy said he lost during combat because he didn't use them. That's not a good sign.
The IGN guy that he's mentioning lost during combat probably because he ran into an enemy that needed his guard broken with one of the Blood Raven attacks. The Blood Raven attacks, as like old dude just showed,
Unbone flashback.
These attacks right here, they use the blood. Well, I'm sorry, past that point, it looks like. The Blood Raven attacks have like a certain gauge, a certain meter. I think this right here. Yeah. And it charges back up over time. So, you know, that's cool. And you can obliterate enemies, looks like, and it'll charge up more. It's really cool. But you don't have to charge it. It gives you more weapon variety. And I think that that's super interesting. You know what I mean? It just gives you another way to attack, because if you're playing with Ryu, if you ever played Ninja Gaiden and you did a heavy attack to an enemy, if you notice, sometimes their guards will break, and on worse difficulties, they don't break at all. Like, you just keep doing heavy attacks to no avail, and that's kind of a problem with Ninja Gaiden, in my opinion. Will this cause each weapon to lose its uniqueness? let me tell you something. There's not a great amount of uniqueness in Ninja Gaiden weapons to me, period. A lot of them with Ryu especially, there's attack, then forward attack, right? There's attack, 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 attack. I'm sorry, light attack, 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 attack. Light attack, forward light attack, attack, attack. Light attack, heavy attack. Light attack, heavy attack, right? Light attack, forward, light attack, heavy attack. Like, you see the pattern here? Like, every weapon in Ninja Gaiden that Ryu has is like that, basically. Now, do some of them do different things? Yes. If I remember correctly, I believe the Kusarigama on Ninja Gaiden 2, that was like a guaranteed, like, limb cutter, right? And I used to use it a lot, if I remember correctly. I think that was a weapon, the Kusarigama. It was like light attack, heavy attack, and you would grab your enemy's like limb and you would cut it off if they were humanoid. I don't think it worked with the demons, but yeah, there's some uniqueness in that area. There's some uniqueness in like the special attacks where like you hold the heavy attack, but I don't know. Like, they're not. You could do Izuna drop with like 90% of Ryu's weapons. Like, I don't know if I would say that this game had the most unique weapons. It's more so like what you want to see visually.
There is some overlap with these, so let's group them together. I do agree that if you can switch weapons on the fly, then each one loses a little of their identity. This will depend on how the combos and movesets work. I always prefer focusing on getting familiar with one weapon before using others. Eventually, you start developing a preference for one over another and learn which ones to use in different situations. And with this, some of that might go away, but again, it's going to depend on how these mechanics are utilized within the game. Is the game going to copy past entries where certain enemies, including bosses, were easier to kill with certain weapons? If so, then does this new mechanic make that pointless? This is why I have to play the game first to decide if this is as bad as people say.
Look at this gameplay, by the way, man. Like, I'm sorry. Let's look at this. Let's analyze this bit by bit, because one thing I'm not hearing from this guy is like a real analysis on like what's going on in the gameplay. Like, look at this. That looks like light attack. Okay, he switched to the Blood Raven attack, but it's not a hilt one. He did just a regular tap and got one attack that made the enemy go backwards a bit. He does Flying Swallow, hits the wall, gets off of the wall with, it looks like light attack, which, you know, I'm trying to remember. In the other games, I think you just like come down. I think you jump in the air and do a light attack, basically. But I don't think it's like targeted towards anything. Which again, the targeting system in Ninja Gaiden has always been trash, but this looks like it's improved. Look at this. So it looks like you can do combos into your Blood Raven techniques.
This is why I have to play.
Like maybe this Blood Raven technique just goes with light attack, right? And this one goes with light attack 1.
This is as bad as people say.
I like this new technique that, you know, he's not really talking about. Oh, goodness gracious. The one where he kicks backwards.
First, to decide if this is as bad as people.
I like that. That's cool. Getting out of the way to do a swallow, flying swallow attack. Really cool.
Each weapon can retain its individuality, and the player is further rewarded in combat because you'll know which weapons to switch to during various combos. The combos themselves will also be insane and can showcase awesome weapon synergy, or they will limit the combos and the
look at this attack, man.
Uniqueness.
That was a cool combo, and he got to obliterate.
Switch between them. This is another wait and see thing, but as a veteran fan here, I understand why people are skeptical. Now, complaining that this will make the game too easy is ridiculous. UTs didn't make the game too easy, OTs didn't make the game too easy, and neither did Steel on Bone. I assume Devil May Cry isn't super easy either because this mechanic exists. And I know personally that Nier Automata and Doom Eternal are not easy because of dynamic weapon switching. They obviously built the game around this mechanic.
Dude is so action game deprived. Like, you know, I can't believe like you don't like I think he'd be able to like make a better assessment if he played Devil May Cry. And no, I don't think Ninja Gaiden is becoming like Devil May Cry. I think Ninja Gaiden is becoming the evolution of Ninja Gaiden and not being stuck in the PS3 era.
Out. Hopefully they don't overbalance.
They haven't made a game in 2 generations, guys. That's crazy.
But I'm not worried about this.
Here we go with the weapons again.
So one praise for this mechanic is if characters can dynamically switch weapons, well that means that Ryu will have more weapons. I mean, you can't switch weapons if you only have one. Except we don't know if this mechanic is exclusive to Yakumo and if Ryu's weapons will be locked in a DLC. But yes, assuming this game follows the past entries where all characters have access to the same mechanics, then Ryu will have multiple weapons. This concern is legitimate because
Well, you know, he said on the one video that he's taking the places of ninja females, and the ninja females only had one weapon, so it's karma.
Of this game has acted as if both campaigns are separate things with different teams working on each. Yakumo's sections have been described as something new, whereas Ryu's are more traditional Ninja Gaiden. It's almost like we're getting 2 separate games, Ninja Gaiden 4 and The Legend of Yakumo. It's almost like the devs are just using this IP to make...
No, you're getting Ninja Gaiden 4. It's Yakumo's game, Ryu is just in it. It's kind of like when... what is it? Arcane Studios said that Dishonored 2 is Emily's game, but you can play with Corvo in it.
Another action game like Platinum Games' other titles. I'm not happy about the prospect of either of these things, assuming they come to pass. This again is another wait and see type of thing, but it is bizarre that they haven't confirmed multiple weapons for Ryu while constantly showing Yakumo's complete arsenal. And when
because he's the more interesting character this time around. He has the Blood Raven techniques, whereas Ryu, as far as we know, you know, I imagine the Blood Raven techniques are going to be done using the R2 button, right? I don't know what Ryu's going to do with R2, but what do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to do something different, or do you think he's going to like get his bow and arrow?
When it comes to having to manually change weapons, this never bothered me, and you're still going to have to do that in this game, just not in the middle of a combo.
Am I worried about dynamic weapon switching? This whole video has been about weapon switching.
Throughout
I know.
this entire video, you're probably wondering why I am so diplomatic with this new mechanic, but not so much with other things like the difficulty change. The difficulty setting alteration fundamentally removed a core element present in past games. It doesn't matter if the game is balanced to be harder with this mechanic removed. What matters is that they removed a key component just to appeal to more players.
They removed the component because it's stupid and old, man. Like, you don't have to change the difficulty. Just keep the difficulty.
And this change further removes the uniqueness of Ninja Gaiden. Removing this would be like removing the mechanic of learning new moves to complete challenges in a future Banjo-Kazooie game.
Another game that's like very dated reference. Like, Nuts and Bolts is like over... what?
I don't need to play
12 years old
to determine that this is a bad decision, unlike the dynamic weapon switching, which has too many unknowns right now. I can't make a judgment based on one clip. Theoretically, this could make combat flashier, add replayability, enhance the enemy design and variety to each encounter. Or it could be a poorly developed mechanic that could trivialize the game, cause players to spam and abuse certain combos, and turn Ninja Gaiden into Devil May Cry,
which is a game he's never played before because he's a square. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to do all the ad hominems, but it's just so silly to me that somebody who's never played Devil May Cry, or it doesn't seem like many other action games, just can't comprehend switching weapons. It's insane to me. What's this person talking about?
Everyone, it's Andre here, and today we're slicing deep into a game that has a game community nervous, hype, and a little bit pissed. It's Ninja Gaiden 4. 12 long years. That's how long it's been since we've gotten proper new entry to the game series. And now Ryu Hayabusa is back, but instead of universal hope, there is a little bit of hesitation, doubt, and conflict. Why? Even though the reveal trailer at Summer Game Fest turned heads and its release is locked in for October 21st, the detail trickling in has fans asking, is this truly Ninja Gaiden? Or is this just another name slapped on a modernized brand? We've gotten gameplay footage, we've gotten dev interviews, and we even gotten IGN's hands-on impressions. And let me be upfront, I haven't played the game myself or demoed it, but I've watched, I've read, and I've listened, and I've studied the community's pulse, and I'm gonna give you the real breakdown, no sugarcoating. The legacy of Ninja Gaiden. Let's set the stage. You can't talk Ninja Gaiden 4 without understanding the weight that this franchise carries. Back in the day, Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden 2 were monsters. Personally, two of my favorite games of all time. These weren't just your average action games, they were relentless, sharp, and punishing. Every encounter was a duel, every enemy could kill you. You didn't just play Ninja Gaiden, you survived it. Jumps or flip, Ryu was suddenly emotional and sluggish. It made no sense why they stripped this game so much. It wasn't a challenge, it became a chore. They tried to salvage it with Razor's Edge, but the damage was already
Razor's
done.
Edge?
The fan base was already fractured. Team Ninja shifted onto other projects like Nioh and Wulong. And after 12 years, we've waited to bring us to now, 2025, with a new game coming out. A new game also coming with...
Is it Wulong? I'm saying Wolong. I've been saying Wolong this entire time because it's W-O. Is it Wulong?
With the new studio partner, a new protagonist, and a hell of a lot of questions. But more importantly, there's hope. Hope that my favorite franchise will come back with
I think Razor's Edge gets too much shit.
Title that's just as good as the first two games of the series. Platinum's involvement. Let's talk about the dev team here. This Platinum games are flashy, combo driven, and focus on parries and dodge. Ninja Gaiden, however, is methodical and brutal, and about pure reflex and being under pressure. In an interview, Platinum directors Yugi Naga literally said, "We're going against the trend here," meaning Souls games. They want Ninja Gaiden 4 to be faster, harder, and more modern. That sounds great and all, but what does that actually look like? IGN's first hands impression gave us a small window into that. They played as Yakumo, not as Ryu, and said that Ninja Gaiden 4 felt fast, stylish, and even bloodier than before. So the blood splatter, it was everywhere. The Uziah drops are back and better than ever. Was the movement fluid? Absolutely. So on paper, everything sounds amazing way during the gameplay, and that is actually a huge upgrade from the original game. Yakumo versus Ryu. IG are in his own series. Yakumo has gotten multiple weapons, flashy Blood Raven with Ryu into that world. And if the enemy AI and level designs are built around Yakumo's speed and parries, how does Ryu even fit into that world? Potentially the devs could just be saving the best for last by not showing so much of Ryu just yet. So let's stay hopeful. Mechanics and modernization. Let's talk about...
You know, I don't really care about Ryu that much. Like, even though I have all the current, like, or modern day Ninja Gaiden games, I don't care about him that much. He's like, my buddy Aaron said it the best. Like, he's a cool, stoic guy, but, like, he's replaceable.
Features. Practice mode was very cool. The Red Eye Raven NPCs that upgrade your combat skills is a very nice touch. Collectible.
Look how cool Yakumo is, man.
Mini games, very unexpected, but I'll give it a try.
Somebody looked at Yakumo. These guys are looking at Yakumo and going, "Man, you know what? All this speed and ninja shit, I'm not down with it."
Was more responsive than Ninja Gaiden 2, and despite dying during the demo, they even said they were smiling from ear to ear.
I like that kick down to the ground.
But 25 minutes of gameplay is not enough to calm the storm and reassure me of my traumas from Ninja Gaiden 3, to be honest. The producer's promise.
Now, you guys gotta get past Ninja Gaiden 3, man. Like, jeez.
Product is still soft or very casual or focus on cinematic over gameplay first, then it's over. Ninja Gaiden dies, and probably for good, and not coming back. And I would hate for that.
And every time I look at these videos, they're always like, you know, I don't want a lot of cinematics. Like, bro, then we can replace Ryu then. He's not that interesting of a character. I don't understand. Like, you guys are attached to a guy that has nothing going on besides being super duper strong.
Community reaction. The internet
which is why the Ninja Gaiden community will never be as big as the Devil May Cry community.
Now is on fire. Reddit is very split. YouTube comments are either on pure hype or doom and gloom. Some people say IGN game preview proves Ninja Gaiden 4 is very legit. Others won't believe it until they see the Master Ninja no hit runs. There's energy, but there's also a lot of trauma in the community for this game. Ninja Gaiden,
Bro, it's been 12 years. These niggas are still talking about something that happened 12 years ago. I can't, like, and it's not even like that was like a life-changing event. If you got Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, like, it's very comparable to Ninja Gaiden 2. Like, I don't give a fuck what they're saying. But that's it for this video. I can't even talk about nothing else. Like, everybody is just, like, I don't know. They're being way too skeptical, like, and not using their eyes, I feel like. But that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.